Good morning, friends. Welcome to episode 57 of the Make Saints podcast. I'm Drew Downs, and this one is called What's Good About Advent? Now, you may or may not be familiar with the concept of Advent. Advent is the season that we celebrate before Christmas Day. So it is the time, it is the 4 Sundays before Christmas Day. So we then celebrate that time. So it's often shortly after Thanksgiving and then runs all the way up to December 25th. And this time that we call Advent is taken as a pre-Christmas, but it has a deeper history than that. It has these other themes, these themes of anticipation and preparation, that we are preparing for the coming of Jesus. Now, this season also has things in common with the season of Lent, which is that time before Easter. And both of those seasons, historically, of course, there's sort of penitential character to them. They often take a different kind of tone than the joy-filled time that they are preparing for. But there's a character in that is valuable and essential, which is this nature, this need to look, this need to observe, this need to get a good sense of who you are before you go into the big celebration. There's introspection. There's being able to see things going on in the world. There's a need to get ourselves ready, and our whole selves ready. And that is a character that is common between these two seasons. Now, for many of us, this desire to have that character and pull all of this in is so important and so valuable that we are recognizing how countercultural the celebration of Advent is in our present world. Right? And so what we find ourselves doing is joining and participating in things like the Advent conspiracy, which is a movement to try and buy less in stuff, right? And stop participating so deeply in a consumer culture, and so that we can engage with people and get a sense of creating events and experiences with one another. Another example was an article written a couple years ago by the religious scholar Diana Bass, and she wrote this article called "The War on Advent," that the real challenge of the moment isn't whether or not we can celebrate Christmas. Obviously, we can celebrate Christmas because most of the country does. It's actually more whether or not we can celebrate Advent, because we're losing track of that season. And I think part of it is that we are losing track of, in the church, of what we're doing and why. Someone recently pointed out the trouble with how we communicate Advent in the church, that it is so negative. As that sort of like, yeah, how's this working out for you? You're trying to swim against the tide of culture, and yeah, how's that going, right? But what they were saying was, people are being offered chocolate. We were getting chocolate truffles and peppermint mocha, and what are we offering? Broccoli. We're offering broccoli, and there's no way you could dress that up. Like you can't. Cheese is not going to compete with chocolate. It's not gonna work. Like how weird is this message of like, you have to eat your broccoli before you can enjoy your chocolate? That message doesn't make sense when we're delivering it so, right? There's no joy there. We need to sell a better message, right? And so that got me thinking that the reason we struggle is I think we ourselves have gotten lost in all of these messages. We've gotten lost in what we're doing and trying to do. And yeah, there's some good stuff in the history. There's tradition of Advent has a lot of rich history, but so does Christmas. And I think there's something to that desire that people have to celebrate Christmas longer. That it isn't just that we're dealing with a culture that loves doing Christmas for 2 months because it'll sell more stuff. We're seeing people get excited about Christmas in November. Getting excited for Christmas and wanting to celebrate it for months, not just 12 days. And there's actually something really revealing in that is really important for our message, because the message of Advent is that we are preparing for the advent of the reign of Christ. We're not preparing to hear a story for the millionth time. We're not preparing for the birth of Jesus because that's happened, right? We're not even really truly preparing for a second coming, who knows when, entirely also. We're preparing for the world to change, right? And what does that change bring with it? A better world than this. So this competition of Advent with Christmas is actually backwards, because the revealing that's coming in our desire for Christmas is that this is what we want more of, not less. That this is actually something more like a new normal. And so our message of Advent is that we are not just preparing for that coming. We are preparing and to be part of something that's making that the new normal, right? Advent's about preparing for that better world, right? So all of those great Christmas feelings, those experiences of going and everyone wishing each other a Merry Christmas, and giving money to charity, giving celebrate giving gifts to one another, not because they have to, but because they get to, right? All of this positive, generous insight that happens to us at Christmas. We watch movies about this stuff, and we get excited to see movies that are so ridiculously predictable and yet they still make us cry. How excited do most of us get to see the original Grinch over and over and over again, the Charlie Brown Christmas over and over again, and we wait for that beauty and generosity to overwhelm us. And that's that element of this time, is that people are so hungry for that. They can't see that that's supposed to be normal. That can be normal, and that we can all participate in God's making that normal. Isn't that amazing? And so this season we're in, where people are running around getting crazy, and we can help them be more joyful and hopeful, and help them anticipate all of that with more hope. And that we can help our neighbors feel that joy now in their lives, with the understanding that that joy just pales into comparison to the joy that will come. That is Advent. That is our regular project. So let's figure it out together. How we can be so generous with each other all the time. So be well, be awesome, and I hope you have a merry Advent, Christmas, and much to anticipate in a joyous new year.